Hi, Daniela. More essays from you. Let's get straight into it. In this day and age, the institution of marriage is still strong, even after so many changes in our society, such as the right to live together as a couple without having an official document for that. However, couples prefer to officialize their relationships when they are in their third decade of life in this century. Okay, third decade of life, just be careful. It means not your 30s, but it means your 20s. Okay, so be careful with that. I am inclined to agree that this is a beneficial decision for them and their future offspring due to their emotional and financial development. Okay, everything is good except for that. You didn't mean their third, you meant their fourth. Okay, think about it. Their first decade is when they're 0 to 10. Their second decade is 11 to 20. Their third is 20 to 30 or whatever. Do you understand? So this is inaccurate. But the rest of it is fine, no problems. It is okay, not a common sense, but it is common sense. All right, and you don't need all these commas. So it is common sense that most of the time people make better decisions in their lives as they become older. It is because they have lived longer, and previous experiences have given them the wisdom to choose wisely in the future. For example, in Brazil, the majority of divorces in 2018 were filed. That's what you mean. You file for divorce. So the majority of divorces in 2018 were filed by couples less than 30. And research has shown that the motive was because they could not surpass some small differences, such as how to share the household duties. Thus, emotional intelligence is something that makes people grow as human beings, but it is only achieved after years. Okay, fine. In addition, people are preferring to settle down. Settle down. You don't settle, you settle down. And have their first child when they're older due to their financial condition. The cost of living has increased sharply over the past decades, so couples are choosing to have babies when they believe they are financially stable. For instance, high standard schools in Brazil are all private, and some parents plan to give birth only when they can afford it. Therefore, it can be seen as a smart decision from these parents to be, as they are planning ahead. What can be seen? It can be seen. All right, you've had so many nouns here that one cannot possibly understand what it refers to. Okay? I'm assuming you mean to become a parent in your 30s, but it's so far removed, this it, that there's no way you can just assume that's what you're talking about. So let's try it differently. Therefore, having a child later in life can be seen as a smart decision from these parents to be, as they are planning ahead and anticipating expenses that they may not avoid. Fine. To conclude, I strongly agree with people that are settling down again and having babies when they are in their 30s, not on. These couples have more experience to deal with life difficulties, whether they are emotional or money related. Lovely. This is nice. I like this. Let's see. Let's talk about something here. They pose a question to you, okay? And the question is, in their 30s rather than when they are younger. Can you think of any benefits to getting married and having a baby when you're younger? Less than 30, for example. Why do you think that there might be some sort of a debate about it? When the question is posed like this, they haven't just said, today people get married and give birth in their 30s. Is this positive or negative? Rather than do that, they have posed some sort of a debate here, and the debate is this versus this. So my understanding is that they really do want you to analyze both of those aspects. You could have done that. You could have started off by saying, what's good about giving birth and getting married when you're younger, maybe what's bad about it. And then you could have gone into all of this, maybe not so extensively as you did, but it's something you could have done. I can't really remember what band score you're looking for, but if you are looking for one of those higher ones, this might have been a good way to approach this, because I think it is worthwhile to talk about why there might be a debate, why we don't do this anymore, why we might want to still do this, and so forth. Okay? That's just some food for thought. I want you to think about it as you progress in the course. But what you did right was very nice. I like the way you divided this. I'm glad that some people, you know what they do? They don't talk about getting married. They only talk about giving birth. You did both. And I like the way you did this. You talked about marriage in one paragraph. You talked about birth in one paragraph. So I like the way you thought about it. So good job. All in all, it was a nice essay. So why don't we go straight ahead into your next one? Okay, and here it is. It's the restaurant complaint. Let's see what you wrote. All right, before I even start, I'm going to tell you a problem that I see. You started off your letter, dear sir or madam. Dear sir or madam requires a very specific ending, and that ending should be yours faithfully. You forgot to write it, you didn't write it, it doesn't matter. It's a very standard sign-off, so that's going to be a problem. It's going to affect your score in one of the criteria. So just be aware of it. When you don't know the name of the person you're writing to in a formal letter, it must end yours faithfully. If you do know the name of the person, you can end it with yours sincerely. But this yours on its own definitely feels too informal. Okay? All right, let's move on then. Dear sir, madam, I'm writing to inform you about the bad experience I had at your restaurant last night. No, not I have ordered, because we know that it happened last night. Therefore, your tenses should be past simple. Okay? But certainly not present perfect. I ordered a risotto, but it took 3 attempts for the dish to come to the table properly. The first time, I found a hair in it as the waiter brought it to the table. He promptly took the plate back to the kitchen. He also apologized for the incident. However, it took several minutes for the replacement. What? And when I tasted it, I noticed that the food was completely cold. Once again, I had to call the server to ask him to change it. To conclude, the chef asked him to inform me that they did not have the ingredients to cook the same option that I had ordered in the first place, and the chef would simply send me another dish. For the aforementioned reason, I therefore suggest that I be given a full refund of the bill. I am a regular, well, not client, customer at your restaurant, and I know that last night's episode was an unfortunate exception. I await your prompt response. Thank you in advance. Yours, Daniela. Okay, it's fine. There were those little things in terms of tense, but nothing too serious. It's fine. It's a good essay. It's appropriate. Like I said, the tenses are a little bit of a problem, but nothing major. The tone is appropriate for the aforementioned reason, and I therefore suggest that I be given a full refund. That's lovely. So you did what you're supposed to do. It's a nice letter. No problems at all. Just the things I mentioned about here with the yours faithfully. All right. Go ahead and correct this set then, Daniela. Add to your error correction list. Remember why I said that you have to use past tense here. You have to use past tense because you have already designated the fixed time in the past. The past event was last night. So since we know when all this happened, you need to use past simple. If we the past perfect, on the other hand, is used for other reasons, like when we don't know something, when something happened, or if we if the event that we're talking about has some sort of relevance to the present. Neither one is true in this case. We clearly know that it was something that happened in the past, and we know exactly when. So all of these I have ordered, I have found, are wrong. And the reason why I am spending so much time to talk about this with you is because it's a fairly simple grammatical mistake. Now, IELTS examiners will be more understanding with a grammatical mistake on a complex grammatical structure, but with something like this, if you are hoping for a high score, they're not going to be so lenient, okay? So this is the kind of thing that I want you to fix. All right, so go ahead and do it. Write us your new set of essays. Don't forget about your error correction list, and we'll be back again to see your next set. Good luck.